Welcome back to Metropole Business Center, and just like I promised right before I took the break, with me in studio is the CEO of a company that has eased logistics not just on the continent, but they're doing amazing things in Kenya. In fact, their mission is just to ease trade on the continent. Joining me in studio is none other than the CEO and founder of Sendy, Mesh Alloys.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show, Mesh.
Thank you.
So we're here to talk about Sendy.
Yes.
First of all, I have to talk about the fact that with each passing day, you're increasingly becoming a household name. I mean, when you're looking at logistics, when you're passing somewhere in the street, Sendy is somewhere there, you know, in your face.
Yeah.
However, for our audience back home that maybe is wondering, what is it exactly we're talking about?
Yeah.
I'll let you tell us.
Yeah.
What is the business of Sendy? And first of all, how did you even get into this space?
Yeah. So first I'll tell you the business of Sendy, and then I'll tell you how we got into this space. So the business of Sendy is we offer businesses a platform where they go in there, you push a button, a vehicle or a motorcycle comes, picks your goods, and takes them to your customers or takes them to your retail store. That's our business. And on top of that, we also help businesses with the financing their working capital as well to buy goods as they trade. And for that, we believe that we're making trade easy. And we actually take that further. We say for trade to happen, you need markets. And for markets to work, you need logistics and financial services. And we're in that space of logistics, making it easy to move goods from one point to the other, and also providing financial services across that whole ecosystem. Yeah.
And Mesh, I love that you've been very categorical in exactly what you're doing. You've talked about your product range. But if we're to speak about now the space of the business and how you're trying to ease, you know, whatever problems they're in, before you got into this business, what were the inefficiencies that you saw therein that small businesses face that you felt like if I actually came up with a company that, you know, solved this, it would make it so much easier? So again, what were the inefficiencies therein?
So three things that I see with, three things that we saw with small businesses before we started Sendy. And these businesses, I'll just say, an example is say a small e-commerce companies, they're selling online or they're selling on Facebook, WhatsApp or Instagram. So that's one type of a company. The second type of a company is maybe a retail store, getting goods from manufacturers for them to be distributors and resellers to be able to sell in their stores. Those are two types of businesses. So they actually go through three challenges that we actually saw an experience as well. One is just reliable logistics to get the goods from point A to point B reliably and affordably. So that was the first challenge. And we see actually across the continent, not just in Kenya or East Africa, across the continent, by the time you're buying an item on the shelf, let's say you're buying it at 100 shillings, up to 60 shillings, we can actually attribute it to logistics. That's very expensive, at about 60% of that cost. So the cost aspect of it, the affordability of that becomes a huge problem. So that's the first challenge that we saw. So affordable, efficient logistics to move things from point A to point B. Remember, I said for trade to happen, you need logistics. I mean, marketplace, you need logistics and financial services. The second piece that we saw is as these businesses trade as well, as they send goods to their customers or they buy goods from distributors or manufacturers as well, there's also a gap of basically financing for their goods. You find you're selling these items, but then you have the capacity to be able to sell more, but then you don't have the financing to be able to help you do that. And of course, because the banks don't have that data or the financial institutions don't have that data, at Sendy we have that data. We hold the source of truth. We know how much we deliver to you. We know how much we've been delivering in the last couple of months or so, and we're able to finance you based on that. So those are some of the challenges that we saw. And the last challenge I mentioned, the last challenge is just having the market to be able to sell to. And now with people being online, this is before we started Sendy. Now you see businesses, really a business starting online and starting to actually serve customers. That wasn't possible about 10 or 15 years ago. And we see that happening today. And that has been sorted out by all these platforms giving access to customers. And now we come in with those two pieces to make sure that we can actually reliably deliver to your customers. We can also offer financial services to help these businesses also thrive.
Great. So Mesh, we're all in agreement that there was a gap. The problems were glaring, they were there.
Yeah.
But I need to ask about the reception
Yeah.
of your product.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask this is, in this part of the world, the way people do business, especially even small businesses, maybe
Yeah.
you can have a normal way where you do it, where I have my own rider. You know, if someone asks for a product, I'll just send the rider, they'll go. Much as that might inconvenience a customer, but we'll see a slow adoption.
Yeah.
And it could be to technology things, maybe because some businesses run their businesses differently.
Yeah.
Not many adapt to technology. So the question is, when it came to the market embracing your product, what
Yeah.
was that like?
Yeah.
And what did you have to do to even break down the barriers?
Yeah. So one of the things, we came in a market where there's no trust, right? And this is one of the fundamental things we're solving. I mean, as you said, as a small business, I have a rider, or I have a van or pickup guy that I just call. But then one of the things you need to answer, or one of the things that they struggle with, is just the transparency of that. Where is this person? At what point will they come? And at what point will they deliver to my customers? Just providing that transparency and seeing that live, that, okay, this is a person who's going to deliver that, and I can see them throughout the journey, no more phone calls and all that. So we sorted out that. And then we just saw the uptick growing really, really quickly. I want to say that Kenya is a very unique market, and we're very, very proud to be headquartered here, because then adoption of like the tech solution that solves this fundamental problem, you find that adoption really growing fast, and then we take on that and actually now scale it in other countries as well. So we're very fortunate that the businesses have been able to serve in the last couple of years. Some businesses really actually run their business on top of Sendy's platform.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I'd like to talk about the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement after.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, there was so much rave. In January, there was so much conversation about its ratification. There's a lot of, what should I call it, anticipation in the kind of opportunities it's going to present.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're in the space where you're saying we're trying to enable trade, just make it easier across the continent, which perfectly aligns with the same mission that AFTA is doing.
Yeah.
My question is, where's the space for
Yeah.
you and some other similar logistics businesses on
Yeah.
the continent?
Yeah.
Do you see this as an opportunity? How is this going to play out for you?
Yeah. So again, as I said, I mean, when you talk about trade, you need markets, you need logistics, and then you need financial services. The last two we play strongly on, which is the logistics and the financial services aspect of it. And for the trade to happen, I mean, AFTA is basically looking at making sure that countries within the continent can trade with each other. So that means a young person here running a small business can actually sell something to someone in Nigeria or in Cote d'Ivoire or Ghana or South Africa or Egypt or so, right? How do we get the goods there? That's where Sendy comes in, and that's the network we're trying to build in the next couple of months and years to be able to have that network built, infrastructure built from a technology perspective for this small business to be able to sell something today to that person or customer anywhere in the continent, and then we'll be able to deliver. If we do that very, very well, and if we do that very well, which we're currently doing, then I think we're going to actually accelerate that idea of AFTA in itself. Yeah.
I mean, you're in a unique space, obviously. The kind of business you're doing is a bit different. So
Yeah.
I would like to understand, and I'm going off of other technology, other type-based businesses like yours,
Yeah.
and the sort of, reception we've seen, the kind of complaints maybe we've had from customers. So I'd like to know what the policies and regulations look like. As someone
Yeah.
who's playing in this space, would you say they've come up with a proper regulatory framework to streamline your business, to enable you operate perfectly? What does that look like? Or would you say there are not modifications that just need to be made for it to be so much better?
Yeah, I would say, to be fair, this is all new to us. I mean, new to us, new to our customers, and new to the regulator as well. And as you innovate and get into new spaces, you find, I mean, policies missing there, or regulation basically missing there. And some of the challenges that we've seen, and so far we're navigating that. Some of the challenges we've seen is where the regulators are basically coming and trying to like quickly kind of put a band-aid onto what is happening instead of like really engaging the people in the sector for us to be able to create policies and regulation that will actually help companies like ourselves and other businesses as well to be able to thrive. But we're so fortunate and grateful to the conversation we have with policymakers, conversation we have with regulators as well, as we continue to grow Sendy. Yeah.
So also, While doing business presently, it's almost impossible to talk about doing business right now without talking about the pandemic. In fact, right now businesses are doing business while thinking about the pandemic in mind because of the kind of impact it's had. You know, so my question is, and actually we've seen that the businesses that have thrived, that have won, almost the ones that are in your space, technological companies, the the adapters of digital, that are doing what you're doing really, because we know what the measures look like. My question is, would you say the impact of the pandemic has been really, really felt in your space, or did it just create opportunities? What has that been like for you?
So I'll talk, before I talk about what the pandemic did for us, I just want to say, I mean, because we actually help small businesses grow. I mean, we've seen some businesses struggle, but we're also very proud that even during the pandemic, we actually made some businesses survive. We made some businesses thrive, because now you had things like lockdown, you have people basically in the houses, and these businesses found new ways to reach their customers, and Sendy came in at the right time to bridge that gap and ensure that we're actually delivering to people's homes as you actually sell. I mean, some didn't make it, of course, were really affected, as you said, and our heart goes out to them as well. On our side, and I usually say that you have a crisis or a pandemic does three things to a company. So one, a bad company will basically not survive it. So a struggling company will not survive it. Good companies will survive it, but then great companies get improved by them. And I would say, like, for us as a business, that actually it helps us improve our business. It helps us really scale what we're doing. Not just what, I mean, we had things that we wanted to do, say, in 3 years' time. We ended up doing them during the pandemic. So it's really accelerated the things, our vision and our missions, really accelerated the things that we wanted to do. And we've just basically seen growth, and of course, really supporting our customers, going out of our way to support our customers to remain afloat.
I'd like to dwell a little bit on the aspect where you said you've played an integral part in helping small businesses survive. And I was just looking online, and I know you came up with certain incentives. In fact, you're really trying to launch something. I know you're adding to your fleet to help other smaller businesses. I would like to talk to you about some of the incentives you put in place, as well as maybe that fleet that I'm talking about. I'd like to hear it from you.
So some of the things that we did, I mean, on our driver side, so that's a very important aspect of our business. There are partners as well. I mean, we don't own any of those assets. They bring them on board. We give them business, and just making sure that during the pandemic, they were all really busy, and us keeping them busy, and then continue to help them make a living was very critical for us. And of course, on the businesses side as well, some of the things that we do on our partner side is just ensuring that I mean, they have the right tools to be able to do that. We form partnership to be able to offer them, like, vehicle financing, motorcycle financing as well, for them to be able to continue growing their businesses as well. As we speak today, I mean, we've just through partnership with KEPSA, we've acquired the J&J vaccine to make sure that all our fleets or drivers who are our partners on our platform are all vaccinated. I mean, together with our partners as well, but also looking at things like health insurance for them. So those are incentives that we basically put in there, working together with Safaricom, who is also our shareholders as well, working together with them to provide data to our partners to be able to continue trading on our platform. On the business side, the things we've been able to do, and this is mostly to retailers, providing them the working capital to continue buying stock and basically selling stock as well. So those are some of the incentives and things that we've been able to do just to keep businesses going during this time.
And Mesh, I know we've dwelled a lot on the logistics aspect, easy and reliable movement, helping businesses get their products to the customer. But when I was looking at your website, I saw it was actually split into three: the transport bit, freight bit, and retail and supply. And I was interested in the retail and supply bit. Talk to us about it.
So again, three aspects. I mean, moving goods from point A to point B, moving goods from the port to the factory, from the factory to the retailers, and then from the retailers to the consumer. So we are on the whole supply chain. And I said where our mission is to make it easy for business to trade. On the supply side, what we do is we allow retailers to buy directly from the suppliers or manufacturers or distributors. And we basically deploy technology to be able to do that. That does three things to them. One, they go in, they push a button. They're able to order goods from multiple hundreds of suppliers who are on the platform. That's one. The second thing, they get access to financing. So they get access to credit to be able to buy stock on the platform. The third thing is is they basically have a consolidated delivery that goes into their store. Before Sendy, I mean, this business would struggle. I mean, you have to keep a tabs of about 50 suppliers that you have to call every single day for you to be able to get your goods. And now we've been able to consolidate that. And I can tell you that some of the customers, the thousands of customers that are on our platform, are really thriving today based on that. Yeah.
So before I even let you go and wrap up the show, before we came on, we were talking about how crazy your expansion drive is.
Yeah.
I mean, we've moved into West Africa, North Africa. What's this journey been like? And then what next? I mean, what should we expect from Sendy? Are we going to see you putting your feet into now other places? What are your partners, people who you're working with? What should they expect really?
Yeah. So the expectation for us is, and I said, we want to make it easy for businesses to trade across a continent. And in the near future, what we're doing is expanding across the continent. As you said, we recently set up in West Africa. We're already doing business there. I mean, in partnership with other companies as well. We're looking into North Africa. We're also looking into South Africa as well. Of course, headquarters will still remain in East Africa and specifically Kenya as well. And as we continue, we are rapidly looking for talent. That's a thing that we are actually focused on. If we're looking for folks who are really passionate about solving trade in Africa, to be able to join our team and for us to be able to build that ecosystem that would make it easy for these small businesses to be able to trade. And I say why these small businesses? When you spot an opportunity and for you to earn a living out of that opportunity, we need to bridge that gap and make that gap as short as possible. And that's making sure logistics works, financial services work, and the markets are available. And those are the tools that we want to build. So we're basically looking for software engineers, we're looking for product managers, we're looking for people in operations, we're looking for people in finance as well. And we're actually looking for people who can actually drive growth across the continent.
Mesh, thank you very much for making the time to come and talk to us about the business of Sendy. You've helped us better understand exactly what it is that you do. For people who thought you were just doing one thing, now we have a much broader picture of what it is that you do. And you're doing amazing things for small businesses. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much for having me.
So that's all the show we had for you today on Metropole Business Center. Thank you very much for being so amazing and watching. If you have any comments or queries about the show, remember, you can do this on our social media handles at Metropole TV KE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back here at 1 with Metropole News at 1.